My name is Robert Greene Sands. I'm the CEO of Pamlico Institute for Sustainable Communities. We are a Washington-based North Carolina 501c3. Our twin missions are historic preservation and service to at-risk veterans. Our umbrella mission, though, is promoting healing strategies in all types of veteran populations. On behalf of the Board of Directors, the staff of Pamlico Rose Institute, and the many partners and sponsors that help put Healing Vet Weekend together, I would like to extend a thanks for you and for your attendance tonight, as well as your interest in our subject, healing and veterans. There will be 4 speakers tonight, 4 TED Talkers, or Vet Talkers. We're going to all be approaching healing and veterans from a different perspective, a different approach. But there's 2 common themes that run throughout the 4 talks tonight. And that is the themes of healing as a process and healing as a road to recovery. Especially significant for veterans who have returned a while back, or returning recently, or even returning shortly with invisible wounds of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. This is characterized by emotional and traumatic stress. Healing is really a very simple complex, or concept. Healing means recovering and making better. That's a Merriam-Webster light definition. A medical definition could be easily mending something that is broken and repairing it to a condition of health or functionality. Those are 2 definitions, but they resist the complexity and the trauma of trying to apply those to veterans with PTSD. They don't fit. They don't work very well. When veterans come back, they come back and they face a very long and torturous road to recovery. Oftentimes that road does not end. It goes with them their lifetime. It's a road that's paved with pitfalls and triggers and dangers like substance abuse, homelessness, joblessness, inability to stay in relationships, hypersensitivity, and all too often, suicide. In fact, point of order, 85% rise in female veteran suicides over the last 2 years. Healing strong means building resilience. And resilience is a very simple concept as well. It means overcoming adversity and tragedy, enduring to overcome future tragedy and uncertainty. Healing strong means to develop healing strategies that will help promote healing in all sorts of veterans, but veterans especially that are struggling with emotional and traumatic stress. All there are strategies like yoga, like art, like bicycling, all events, as you know, that we're looking at for this Healing Vets Weekend. But also there's equine therapy, there's canine therapy, there's hunting, there's fly fishing, and my favorite, there's surfing. All these strategies are available for veterans now in many nonprofits across the country. And these strategies do a couple of different things. One, they create a mindfulness in veterans. A mindfulness meaning stay in the moment. Work what you're needing to work now. Forget the past. Work in the moment to prepare for the future. Mindfulness, or being in the moment, is a critical way to cut through the stress and anxiety that comes with PTSD. It does another thing, though. These strategies that we're talking about teach veterans new skills. And you know what? Maybe these skills aren't what they're going to use when they do recover. Maybe they'll never see them again or touch them. But it teaches them new skills, and it gives them the confidence to attempt new skills, new experiences, and sometimes these alternate strategies are done in small groups or by themselves. Gardening is a favorite strategy. Gardening is where you take a seed, you plant it, you nurture it, fertilize it, you watch it grow to a mature plant, flowers bloom and fruit ripen, and you harvest. And then you do it again. It's a success. You build on successes. That's what gardening is. There's nothing that stands between the veteran's finger and the rich earth that he plants or she plants in. But healing is also a social process. And that last half of the road the veteran walks is probably the most difficult road, because they do it without the support of their colleagues and their teammates that they've been with for so long. The social process of healing, it takes a village. It takes a village to heal. So, how does that village heal? Sebastian Junger, the author of The Perfect Storm and other books, wrote a book recently. Not a very big book. It's called Tribe. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. His focus on Tribe was that community is critical for the survival of the human species. Building lasting communities. And in this book, he talks about Native American culture. Native American culture, ancient Native American culture, and the concept of tribe. Tribe is important. In tribe, what happens is you self-sacrifice for the collective. That's how tribes sustain themselves. And he took that concept of tribe and like a laser focused on veterans returning with PTSD. Veterans returning with PTSD no longer have a tribe to support them. In fact, they return home alone, they're isolated, they're constantly living in some state of heightened. Their relationships fail. Tribe protected them as they protected the tribe. Now, when veterans come back and they are suffering from PTSD and they do get help, always or initially that help is with other veterans in small groups, and they continue that concept of tribe. But at some point, they have to leave. They have to integrate back into the community. Communities that could be their tribes later on, but for now, when they leave that cloister recovery program that they're in, it's a daunting and fearful challenge to walk that road alone. Narcotics Anonymous and Alcohol Anonymous are two 12-step programs. They heal the inward sense of who you are as a person, but at the same time, they're pushing you as a recovering addict out into the community of those people that need help. While you're working inwardly, you're also being poised to help others in need, like yourself or other communities. So what does this do, right? You've got 12 steps to get through, to get finished when you're healed, but at the same time, those 12 steps also include healing others. It's very important for a recovering addict to be able to do that. Now, veterans have this wired into them. They supported the person, their colleague on the left and on the right, and they self-sacrifice for their unit. It's a sense of being larger than you are, and that's wired into being a veteran. So in some ways, that's already there for veterans to take use of when they go through recovery programs. But there's another part of recovery. Social resilience. And social resilience is the ability to be able to support a community as a person so that the community can get stronger, can undergo and overcome tragedy and emerge stronger at the same time. Social resilience is a collection of skills. These skills are things that we probably use every day, but we're really not quite sure what they are or how to describe them. One of them is perspective taking. Having the ability to be able to understand somebody else's journey. Very critical. Suspension of judgment. Cutting off your biases to allow yourself to be able to see somebody else's journey. Good interactive communication skills. And empathy. Empathy can be taught. Empathy is allowing yourself the learning to be able to understand somebody else's journey. And then be able to use that to help them in their journey. Remember, healing others, we heal ourselves. 21st century warfare is so much different than the war that was fought by my father. 21st century warfare now involves less trigger pulling and a lot building partnerships and sustaining alliances around the world. This is the 21st century battle that most of our veterans have come from, especially if they came from Iraq and Afghanistan. So 21st century warfare means that we're trying to help other countries develop their national security apparatus, build their armies, train them, make them better so they can defend themselves. So that means that our veterans that came home, and that came home recently, were working with soldiers and sailors that spoke a different language and probably dramatically had different worldviews. Social resilience helped build that relationship, helped make it successful between our services and the mission that they were supposed to do. But there's another thing that is critical in that picture of a 21st century warrior, and that is the civilian population. The civilian population has become the currency of peace. It's important that the civilian population is protected and defended, because at the end of the day, that's who's going to be around to help build the country. So in some ways, the fight that my father did when he was in World War II took place in a battlefield someplace outside of the town, on a village, on a plain someplace, or maybe in a river valley, away from population centers. That's not the way it is today. Today, front lines cut through neighborhoods, they cut through villages, they cut through communities. And it brings the civilians that were there to help protect and defend into the crosshairs of combat. We need social resilience skills to be able to understand and move ahead with that. But the ironic thing is that when those civilians come in contact with our combat forces in war, they also become victims, and they also become the horror of war that oftentimes comes back with the veteran. It's PTSD. So if we step back for a second, and we look at this road of recovery that's both building resilience, building social resilience, and building and sustaining community, it really is helping others, healing others, we heal ourselves. Now, our reintegration home of Rose Haven, which is just over on 3rd Street, it's a reintegration home for female veterans with substance abuse. What we intend to do with that house and the residents that will live there is build a program of social resilience. And you know what? It's right there. It's right under the surface. All we have to do is help them cover it and help them promote it again. So we have a house that will bring 4 residents together and they'll create their own tribe. And then we have a healing garden right next door that they'll learn urban agricultural skills. And then there's a barn in the back. We're going to rehab the barn and then put a foundation down, stabilize it, and make it a multi-purpose center. And then give them woodworking skills to be able to learn as well. Who knows? They may never pound a nail when they leave that program, but they developed a skill. They may never plant another tomato, but they developed a skill. Social resilience is a pretty critical thing. Now look around you. I bet either you're a veteran or you're sitting next to a veteran. Or maybe you're sitting close to a veteran. Or maybe you know a veteran. Or maybe you know a family that has a veteran. Maybe your family stretches back into history with the generations of veterans. Beaufort County has 3,000 veterans. East of I-95, 78,000 veterans live. If you think about it, we are both the tribe and the village. And in the end, it really just comes back to you and me in building and forging this community.